Hey YouTube, what is up? Thank you for coming back to my channel. My name is Gino Benino, and I have been busy picking up a bunch of comics. I want to show it to you quick, so I'm going to kind of rifle through things to make this not last too long. So again, bear with me. I know all the time I try to show a little trinket or something like that from the theatrical dry cleaning days when I did the TV and movies and whatnot. So the first thing I want to show is actual working script from Nightmare on Elm Street, Freddy's Nightmares. This was basically the series they did. It was kind of a low budget thing. It really wasn't. It wasn't done by a major studio, but anyway, it was still cool. It was, it was Robert Englund. So I mean, it was the real actor, and I got to talk to him, and it was his actual sweater and stuff like that from all the movies. He kind of was again, like a sports person will wear the same socks and everything. He loved the same sweater. So anyway, this goes quite a few years back. This goes back to 1988. In fact, this was a last episode I think they did before Christmas break. If you look, it's dated December 13th, 1988. And again, this was a show that actually made it on the air. I didn't ever see it, but yeah, this was the actual working script from the TV series and stuff like that. It's kind of cool. But yeah, anyway, a nice, cool little trinket that I have. So first thing I think I'm going to do is show some modern books. I just picked these up actually today. The first one is Thanos 14, which is a reprint or the second printing of this. I don't know if you guys have been following this story arc, but basically there's a lot of jaw-dropping stuff going on. You find out who the cosmic Ghost Rider is in issue 50. And 13, 14, and 15 are actually good to pick up. They all kind of follow that story, and they're all getting second and third prints and stuff like that. So this, again, is the way the second print looks like if you haven't seen it yet. But anyway, I picked it up today. The next one, of course, is Amazing Spider-Man 795. Now, for those of you that have been following along with the Red Goblin story, this was a episode or a issue, where we didn't think it was going to much happen in it, but it turns out the way Marvel's doing this is they're kind of spoon-feeding the character. 794 is when Harry Osborn first kind of got the symbiote and had it in like a container. And 795, of course, he's going to open it, which he did at the very end of the issue. And again, I don't want to give it away, so if you haven't read this, you may want to turn the sound down for a few seconds. But anyway, this is what I would call the first cameo of the Red Goblin. We thought he was going to be introduced a little later, but it's turning out again that what Marvel's doing with this is they're kind of spoon-feeding this, probably to sell books, obviously, but also it just makes the storyline a little bit more interesting. As a matter of fact, for those of you that still have an opportunity to go to your comic store and getting some of these, my recommendation would be do just that, because what's happening if you check online, like if you go to Unknown Comics or any of those places, you'll find out that this entire run from about 794 to 801 is selling out, and you won't be able to get them. So if you want to get them for cover price, my strong recommendation would be to get your butt over to your comic store and pick some up right away. If you want them, again, and those of you that have speculated on them, my guess is you probably have some good issues. I got 4 or 5 copies today. But anyway, yeah, my recommendation is this is going to be a very key issue. Again, typically is because this is what I would call the first big cameo for the Red Goblin, or who's eventually is going to turn out to be the Red Goblin. I don't want to give away too much more, but obviously you knew what was coming. So yeah, it's going to turn out to be, I have a feeling this is going to be a big story, and it's going to be something that's going to affect Spider-Man for a long time, because anytime they mess with Green Goblin, think about the Hobgoblin and stuff like that, it always stays a character that's hot and people collect. And my guess is, if you think about it, Norman Osborn mixed together with Carnage, I mean, how can you go wrong? That's going to be a bad villain. So get a hold of these. Again, especially if you're a Spider-Man person, get these. Then I picked up a couple new old issues. This is the first Phoenix. This is the one with kind of the 3D cover. Really liked this story. It was good. And then I picked up a couple Jim Lee variant Batman. Dark Knight Metal. There's a few covers for this, but this is the Jim Lee variant. And again, it's his artwork is pretty unique. I've always liked it. Next is Batman. I got both covers for that, the normal and the variant. I don't know what you guys think, but I'll tell you what, this has been one of the best storylines that I've read for a long time. If you ask me, DC is kind of, they're out marveling Marvel in that they're bringing the story down to like a personal level where you actually care about what's going on with Batman and Superman and all the people that he has to explain his relationship with and stuff like that. It's very, very, very good story. There's some, typical comic stuff, punching and villainy and stuff like that, but it's more of a personal sort of, more of a personal story with Batman and his relationship with his friends and stuff like that. It's very good. Very, very good. Then I got another copy of 13. Again, this is the first printing of that, and this is kind of where the story arc really starts taking off. I picked up X-Men. I just got the one cover, the basic cover for that. But there's a few others. I know I've seen a few people in their videos talk about them and stuff like that. And then I picked up this. Just looked like a really cool storyline. It's Versus by Image, and it's got definite kind of a computer feel to it. My understanding is it's sort of it takes place like people watching war and death and destruction and things like that. And again, this is the first issue. We'll see how long it goes, but so far this is really good. Then the next thing I'll show, I know a few videos ago I was talking about collecting the collector's edition or the treasury editions, which are those great big books. And no sooner did I make that video, and I checked out Facebook Marketplace, and somebody was selling them. So I went and picked up a few of them. He was selling this one, which is Savage Fist of Kung Fu, and then number 16. And basically I'm trying to fill the whole run of them. I know I showed a couple videos ago, I had like 1 and 5 and 2 and stuff like that, but I didn't have them. I didn't collect this far down the line, and this is 17, which was another Hulk. But I got a real good deal on these. I think I got them for $1. Can't go wrong. They're in pretty good shape. Again, the problem with these books is they were just so big that they were very difficult to kind of keep in, there's no way you were going to keep them in mint condition just because there was no bag and board and stuff like that big enough to put them in. But, nonetheless, the overall, they're very solid, good condition books. Then, along those same line, I went to Marketplace, and somebody was selling a bunch of back issue Spider-Mans. So I picked those up as well. I've got, let's see here. There's a bunch of Marvels he had, and there was a couple key issues that were kind of mixed in the group. What I did is, I think I bought like 40 books or something like that for $25. I got a Silver Surfer #1. This was a pretty nice key issue that was mixed in there. This is Suicide Squad #1, the New 52, and again, it's a great story. Superior Spider-Man, which I never collected before, so I got a couple issues of that. This is let's see, what number is this? Number 2. And then I got the Death of Captain Stacy one-shot, Spider-Man #1. And then a Venom book, which is the Superior Spider-Man #24. Then he had a few spectacular Spider-Man books. This is issue 158. Then we went into just normal Spider-Man. He had a #27. I already have a couple of these, but it's the first appearance of Annex, so I picked up another one, and that's the annual. And then issue 290, and let's 327, 334, 365, which is the again, a lot of people, I've got a few copies of this already, but you know, again, it's a pretty good book. It might as well get another copy of it. It's for $1, so it couldn't go wrong. 335, and then we start getting into like the run of McFarlane and stuff like that. So I always collect those all day. 339, 351. A few of these filled a few holes in my collection too. I trying to get the whole run of Spider-Man. 352, and then this was a 360. This was a I believe this was first Carnage cameo. This came just before 361. 370, and then 374, 368. And I like this book just because it's a kind of pays homage to issue 50, which is where Peter Parker, it's the iconic thing where he's walking away from being Spider-Man. But they redid it. This is 392. Then another book that I got in the same group, and this one was kind of a little bit more of a key issue. This is Original Sin number 4. And again, I love this cover. It kind of, back in the day, it used to always have Spider-Man half-faced with the mask on one side and his, you know, Peter Parker face on the other. And they did that right here in the cover, so I just love that cover. I had to pick it up. Then he had this one, and I love portrait covers. You know, this was 566 or 568, excuse me. And this was the variant cover, with, again, the Green Goblin portrait. He also had some Vampirella books, which I like. This is the foil cover number 1, and sort of the Weightlifter 7. And he also had Wolverine 80, which is Cyber. So I picked it up again. I think I already had this one, but I wanted an extra copy of it. And then along the lines, again, of more modern books. And these are things that I've picked up and just haven't had a chance to make a video about. Again, this was the very first issue, like I mentioned, of the Red Goblin storyline, which is $7.94. I picked up about 7 or 8 of these. I don't know if this one will really do that well in back issue, but it certainly is. Again, it's the first time that Harry Osborn comes in contact with the symbiote with Carnage. Well, it's in a, you know, still in kind of a sealed jar. Never know. So again, I picked it up. Like I mentioned, all these books, $7.94, $7.95, $7.96, $7.97, they're all getting really hard to get a hold of. If you look online, again, they'll all be shown as sold out. So if you can get them at your comic store or something like that, I would say buy them if you want them in your collection for sure. Then I have Avengers 1, and again, a lot of people have shown this. This is the regular kind of articulating cover. Then this is the one that sort of pays homage to the Silver Age books. And I really like that one. Again, that's just sort of so much reminds me of the old Silver Age stuff. And again, getting back to the Batman stuff, 36 and 37 are the books that really kind of bring Batman and Superman down to like a human level. So if you haven't read these, my recommendation is do that. Basically, they're on a date. Superman and Lois Lane and Batman and Catwoman, they're in their civilian clothes and they're just trying to figure out, you know, how to get along, and there's kind of like a little bragging going on between Superman and Batman. It's actually pretty funny. And that's 37. And then there's regular in the other one. A lot of people have shown this one. I don't know what it'll do, but again, it's a number 1, so I figured I'd pick it up. Damaged by DC. And then Image Book, Dissonance. And then I did pick up The Flash, this Groot. Again, this is a cool cover with Groot, you know, in sort of I'm going to kick your butt mode. Phoenix, and a lot of people have talked about this book. Pays homage to the first issue of Fantastic Four. So when I saw it, I picked it up just for that. It's just kind of a, again, that's a classic cover. And then I got the Spawn 282, which that's the variant, and then this is the regular cover of the variant's the one that's in black and white. Picked up a few of those. And I showed 14 a few minutes ago, but this is the way that the first printing looked like. Like that. And then the second print's the one I showed. And then this is 15. And this is the one that, excuse me, that one's, yeah, this is the one that right now, this is getting kind of pricey. Kind of a hard book to pick up. Probably on eBay, it's around $15, $20. So if you can get it for less than that, especially if your comic store is not sold out, get them. But again, a lot of stuff goes on in this book, jaw-dropping stuff. Kind of, again, for Marvel purists, some people are not real happy with who everybody turns out to be. I won't want to give away too much, but yeah, anyway, again, it's kind of a cool take on some of the characters. And then this was part of that group, Infinity, which was a cool Thanos cover. And then probably my Grail book that I got, and I have to squarely blame Doom for this one. He showed this, and I absolutely fell in love with the cover. It became a gotta have. I sort of paid a lot of money for it, but I wanted a really good copy of it because I just loved it. And anyway, I got this off eBay. This is classic Detective 880. Again, you just, that cover is just such an iconic cover. As soon as I saw it, I absolutely knew I had to have it. And then it was just a question of waiting for the right price and stuff like that. I made an offer on it. The guy took it. There was a few up there that were already graded, but I sort of like getting ones that are. I like getting raw copies, especially ones that are in good condition. And if they need to be pressed a little bit, I do that myself or send them out or whatever. And that's kind of was the situation here. This comic got beautiful. I pressed it already, and there's not a spine tick, not a thing wrong with it. So I'm going to send this in and get it slabbed. But again, you just can't, that's just an absolute beautiful, just an amazing cover. You can't go wrong. So that was my big pickup. And that's it, guys. So I hope I whipped through it fast enough. I hope everybody was able to see everything. I didn't even check to see how the glare was. I hope it wasn't awful. But I do appreciate you all watching. And again, those are my books. For ever those that have been explaining spec books and things like that, I have been paying attention, and I've been getting them, and I've been reading a lot of stuff too. I'm getting way back into the hobby. This is cool. So once again, guys, been a fan, and I appreciate you all watching my videos as well. All right, take care, and we'll be talking again soon. Bye-bye.